Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you an Alpine Cup review. So, this event concluded, and as you all know, I was looking at it on the radar last weekend to see what we will learn now that Emperor's Children is in the meta and Mordaka is out. All the things. I wanted to see what would happen. And I gotta admit, I don't really know all the things that might have happened behind Alpine Cup because these final matchups seem to take place at a time and they didn't get posted at a time that I figured they would because there's like way past it said that the event was gonna conclude by the time that this finally went up. I don't know what happened beyond like behind the scenes or with the scenes or whatever, but my first conclusion when I was checking in on things was that, well, there's 20 O's, so maybe they didn't show up. But the games got played, and you can see them be played on Breaking Heads. So, Breaking Heads covered this. Sorry, I didn't include this in the preview prediction video for this tournament. I guess I didn't do my due diligence well enough to find out that they were streaming it this time around. So, Breaking Heads, you can check out the games. Their label, what languages are being spoken for the most part. I take that back. I just got lucky and noticed that the one was in English that I wanted to figure out what the hell happened. So, um, if you speak English or German, get in there and watch the games. But let's talk about the results. First off, we have Nicholas, who we've seen on Chaos Demons before, and as we can see, pretty good with them. This is also the first time that I've noticed in a list that you can put an enhancement on the CSM aspect of it. Now, have people done this before? Probably, and I just didn't catch it. But uh, I I was like, oh wait, I guess you can do that. I didn't. I definitely didn't think about that. Moving past that, we have Bellicor, the standard bloodthirster. Got Nurglings down to 6, Seekers, Beast of Nurgle, and Screamers. Now, when I talked about Shadow Legion lately, I was like, I don't get the flamers aspect of if you're going to run Zeech units. I'm not seeing the flamer angle. And you all raise good points. It's not to say that I don't like flamer. Well, eh, nah, it's not to say that I don't like flamers. I just didn't think that they are worth the points to do the angle for Zinch. If I'm being honest, like I just really wasn't there. And people raise good points. You can regen and spots and all the things, right? I'm like, but I have havocs. So I don't know why I need flamers per se. But neither here nor there. Nicholas has changed that out and said we're not doing flamers, we're doing screamers, and screamers make more sense to me because you have 160 points, six demon units of anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4 up. Just send that shit in, get the wounds, and be -1 to hit on the way there. So now people are just taking chips for fucking nothing. And then your Bloodthirster can possibly clean up whatever might need to be cleaned up. That isn't getting cleaned up by a Cursed Cultist, the Cultist Mob, Dark Commune, all the fun things down here. We also, well, to that point, how I just said you have Havocs that can do it, we didn't go that angle either. We have Raptors instead of Havocs, and also not Warp Talons. So a bunch of surprises here out of Nicholas's version of Shadow Legion from what we've seen so far. Uh, like I said, I'm still kind of wondering when or if the list will ever go into a elite unit style of it. But hell, if this works too, it works. So, congrats to Nicholas once again doing things on Chaos Demons. Next, we have Nicholas, who has Devoted of Your Need. Yep, Vizark, Yvrain, Autarchs. I see that Incarn is really falling out of list. Cabalite Warriors, Dark Reapers, Fire Dragons, Howling Banshees, Rangers, Warp Spiders, no striking Scorpions, right? No striking Scorpions. I've seen those kind of jump in and out. Yunari Incubite, Wind Riders, a Wave Serpent, and a Venom. So, Devoted you need. I guess it's destined to be second. Now, it's still X and O, right? But I wonder I expect it to get hit. And here's the thing where I'm going to make a semi complaint that it's weird. It's not weird. I know exactly why. So Moridaka got obliterated as fast as possible. And it's because more people play orcs, if we're being honest. Like more people have an orc collection that their father gave them or some shit. They've been collecting orcs for, whatever. It just comes with the territory where it's like, well, I've been playing 40K for a while. Look at that. I have 2,000 points of orcs. So when orcs have good things like Bully Boys, uh, Green Tide, Mordaka, Tactical Brigade, you feel that. Because a lot of people come out of the woodworks and are like, oh shit, I heard orcs are good. Well, I like rolling dice and seeing what the fuck happens on sixes and well fives and sixes. Then you have things like Ildari and Ultramarines, which Ultramarines I think I'm more concerned about the pluggability of Marnius Calgar and Rabute Gilliman. Like we're seeing that shit in Vanguard, Ironstorm, Gladius, of course. Right, we're seeing that in damn near all the detachments. So I'm just like, huh, we got to talk about that, right? And then we have Eldari, where it definitely takes more skill than people expect because we're not looking at Eldari, all the way through. Like again, where's the next Eldari out of this, right? Um, so it definitely takes more skill to pull off the things, but if it's consistently second at major, super major like levels, does it need to be addressed? In my head, I would say yes. I would say that it still needs to be addressed. Um, but at the same time, then you have factions that outside of just one detachment with Yanari, you have factions that there's like a faction specialist where people aren't able to replicate the results with the faction like certain skilled players are. So to that, does everything that falls into that criteria need to be addressed some way? I don't know. Like, do you buff something that, again, just gonna, for lack of better terms, you see a few select Drukari players doing the thing, right? Do you buff Drukari? I would say yes, because it's not like the people that are winning with the current version of things like Drukari and Devoted are going to win harder, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying Yunari needs a buff in any way, shape, or form, but it's just like, huh, I guess the people that are already winning with the thing that nobody else can win with, you can only score a max of 100 points or 20. Oh, because this is, I guess, for anybody that is confused about the scores, is differential scoring. So, uh, every 5 points is a point for you versus against, and a point away from your opponent, starting at 10-10. Uh, so every five scored points VP, that's how you do it. Uh, I guess technically starting at six. But yeah, so I think there's something to be said about armies and factions and detachments where when you're good, you're like good. You're like really good with it. But how good can you be with it, right? Like if we keep seeing X and O second on scores, is it actually an issue? I'd say yes because it's been doing it for the last 6 months. Well, I guess not technically six, like 4 or 5, whatever. But I'd say that it still needs toning down, and even to the Gilliman and Calgar thing, as you can see right here, we're not looking at Space Marines right here. So I just want to open that conversation up here because once again we have Eldari, Devoted of Your Need, coming second. And that's not to take away from Nicholas. It is still X and O. It's just interesting that it's X and O again at second. So technically, people tend to be like, see, Chaos Demons won the event. Ooh, see, Ultramarines won the event, and the discussion stops there a lot of the time. So it's kind of weird that y'all are flying under the radar, but not at the exact same time. It's like, no, people know, but at the same time, each time, it's like, no, you have to be good still. You have to really be good. It's not an autopilot thing. And I think that's, to an extent, fine, but should still be talked about. Next up, another Chaos Demons. And we are on Demonic Incursion. Now, Bellicor, Kairos, Rodigus, Scarbrand, Great Unclean One, Lord of Change. Other data sheets being Beast of Nurgle and 2 units of Fleshhounds. So, I love this for the fact that I like the chunky list, right? Like, that's no surprise over here. But I like that what it keeps showing us. That if you can have 6 motherfuckers that are just bricks in one way or another, semi-powerful, right? 2 point scoring units, maybe a third, right? Because these have uppy downy now. This one semi-brick that can stand somewhere, right? 3 point scoring units for a lot of shit. That's all you need. Now, mind you, they all have deep strike, right? You're playing Chaos Demon, so it goes a little bit more in depth than that. But if you've looked at most demonic incursion, uh, greater demon list, a good portion of them start on the board anyway. A fair enough portion. I shouldn't say a good portion, but you're looking at like half of them starting on the board most of the time. I don't know if that's what happened here. I didn't necessarily go back to watch the game on this front to see if that's what the game plan was every time. That's what we've seen a lot on Demonic Incursion, especially because you're kept at 1,000 points. So you know how much shit are you actually going to throw into uh, reserves for that front. So yeah, interesting to see that Chaos Demons, the free index, codex, whatever we want to call it, out of everybody, is still viable not only in Shadow Legion, their new one, their Index 1, Scintillating Legion still scintillizes every now and again. I just talked about how Blood Legion probably needs a second look because of the things that happen to things like Scarbrand and the Fleshhounds. Uh, and Plague Legion is actually good too, but very few people are piloting it, and the people that do, I keep seeing like X and one, so that's good too. But moving past that, we come back over to CSM, and we are on Renegade Raiders, not Creations of Bile. 2 Chaos Lords, Cypher, Sorcerer, and Terminator armor. Cultish Mob, Legionnaires, 2 Rhinos, Bikers, Predator Destructors, Chosen, Possessed, Raptors, Warp Talons, Noise Marines. The yeah, Noise Marines, okay? Um they brought Noise Marines, I gotta say, besides that, I'm kinda confused on the list. Predator Destructors, of course, will be nice with assault, and I guess the fact that you have 2 rhinos can make even better use of the things that you would not typically have, because like this is kind of skewed towards melee. Maybe not that much. Maybe in my head it's strictly just the possessed and warp talents making me go, now how we do that? But yeah, I guess that's right. That is just those two that are throwing me a little bit off. For the rest, yeah, I guess it does make sense on Renegade Raiders. I think Noise Marines also, there's a discussion to be had about what SpaghettiOs, Noise Marines, while we're figuring everything out, who knows. So Renegade Raiders, everybody kind of left away from this to go play with Creations of Bile. Good to see that Renegade Raiders is still perfectly viable. It's not that one thing got weaker, it's that people chose to play with the new thing. So Renegade Raiders still has play. Coming back over here, Grey Knights Warpbane Task Force. I should say, excuse me, that I didn't do my typical. These are my guesses, but I did in a way, right? Not the same way that I would, where I'm like, okay, I know what's going on in the meta more or less. These are my guesses for sleeper picks. It was more so, I think we'll probably see this, but I have no clue because Emperor's Children is new and able to be played here. Grey Knights. Warpbane Task Force was at least one of my calls. I'm pretty sure I was wrong on the rest, if I can remember correctly. Did I say? I think Chaos Knights. Did I say is Chaos Knights in top 8 backslash 16? All right, there's some Chaos Knights. So I don't know. I don't think I really called too well on this one, where I did say I had no fucking clue. But Warpbane did do the thing. Warpbane, Warpbane, Warpbane. I don't really know. And the fact that people are getting there, I guess. We've dropped down to 2 Grandmasters and Nemesis Dread Knights instead of springing for the 3. Interceptor Squad, Nemesis Dread Knights, Rhinos, right? So it's still more or less the Dread Knights in Warpbane, and the last time we saw it, we saw that people are leaning into what Warpbane is asking you, where it's like, hey, infantry. Uh, and if it means that there's just got to be more ratios, where it's one of those detachments where it's like, yeah, it asked me to bring infantry, but now I'm not going to focus on that aspect. I still need the Dread Knights. If that's what we're going to learn here from Grey Knights, maybe the infantry themselves can't carry enough power consistently to do that, and you still bring out the Dread Knights. Or maybe it's because Grey Knight players are still comfortable with their Dread Knights. Who can really tell? But I think we are able to see that Warpbane might not be the problem itself, detachment, one way or the other. It wasn't as plug and play OP as we first thought it was reading Grotmus rules, and it doesn't seem to be in the gutter as bad as possibly thinking after it didn't do the things that people thought it would do. So, Warpbane seems to be manageable. Maybe that's a Grey Knight list thing until somebody finds the perfect ratios. It's like, no, no, no. You do 2 Grandmasters, 1 Nemesis, and 3. Fuck, what's the Razorbacks instead of Rhinos or something. And fill the shit with Purifier Squad, Purgation Squad, and all the shit. And then all of us start screaming and crying, maybe. But for now, it seems like Warpbane, the, ratio a little bit different instead of the third. Um, Seems manageable enough and competitive, at least in Europe so far. Going over to Dark Angels, who are on Gladius Task Force. Asriel, we've seen the Gladius Task Force, uh, Dark Angels, but here we go with jump packs. Like Deathwing Knights, jump packs, Inner Circle Companions, Scout Squad, Vindicators. A little bit more mobile than what I last remember seeing on the Gladius Task Force DA route of things. That also was a minute since I last looked at that list, but 2 units of Assault Intercessor with jump packs, Deathwing Knights, Deathwing Knights are Deathwing Knights, Scout Squads, nice to see, and Vindicators. It is also interesting to see that with the points increase, most of the Space Marines are definitely falling off of so many Predator Destructors. Um, and going for Vindicators, which for a good portion of the edition, people are like, no, Vindicators are like too low range, and it's like, but they can still shoot their good gun in combat, even though it says blast. What are we talking about here? And people swore up and down, no, I can't use a Vindicator. I need my Predator Destructor. So it's interesting to see that all colored power armor are just going, yeah, I think I'm good with the Vindicator, and I will beat you with it. So, good on that. Then we go over here to Necrons, which is Awakened Dynasty. Awakened Dynasty is making the rounds. Even got a Royal Warden in there. Ghost Ark, Reanimator, Crypto Thralls, Scorpec Destroyers. We're seeing the bricks of the Warriors. Ghost Arks boost that up, also with the Reanimator in there. Kind of tough to chew on, but you know, Necron's Awakened Dynasty is looking still good. All right. Astra Militarum, Bridgehead Strike. Now, I saw this and I said, how the fuck is that possible? But Alpine Cup, Leoben, Bridgehead, right? Bridgehead, is it back? Ah, even got Slime Marvel in there, right? Bridgehead, Death Core of Krieg, Tempestus Scions, Ogrins, Ratlings, and Canis Rex. Um, please don't tell me Bridgehead is still good. Like, did I hate Bridgehead? No, I don't think that's right. But yeah, if you're telling me that we did that thing where, once again, it's over exaggerated how dead a detachment is, and Bridgehead is still fine, I'm not excited to find out. Compared with Combined Arms still being good, Hammer of the Emperor making its rounds, and honestly, I think people still got to explore the rest of the Guard Codex. So if you're telling me that almost all of their detachments are viable, except for like the Infantry Scout something other, Infantry Spam, and hell, it's Guard. That just might be viable too, and just gotta see. So if you're telling me that they got a pretty banger book still, including Grotmus, I think I'll be a little bit jealous. So there we go on the Guard front. And now we come down here, Necrons once again, Awakened Dynasty, doing the things, right? Doing the things. So, Awakened Dynasty, gonna do Awakened Dynasty things. Adeptus Custodes, Lines of the Emperor. This is the one that I'm like, about fucking time. Blade Dirty Protects is crazy work. So, triple Blade Champions, Custodian Guard, Custodian Wardens. Why did I say it's about fucking time? So, Witch Seekers, Callius Assassin, Inquisitor Draxus. So, Blade Champs have that, you know, nice little thing where once per battle, after you advance, you can still charge, right? We still hate it, and we still have that. Alliance of the Emperor has a cheaper version of what happened in Auric Champions, where how about you get to do it again? Yes, that is a Marvel's Rivals reference. I'm sorry. Maybe I will put that in the upcoming video as well. There's your warning. Um, they have the ability to go balls to the wall again. And if you get charged by Blade Champion with what I'm assuming to be Custodian Wardens, usually you don't come out of that end the better half, especially with Marshal Kata giving them sustained or lethals given the situation. As we know, Custodes hurt when they can punch you. So, I was wondering when we hit that route, and you even got Trajan. Honestly, is there. Did Trajan go with one squad of Wardens? Champs go with the other two? And one champ goes with Custodian Guard, maybe? I wonder what happened. I wonder what the exact arrangement was. Um, but yeah, I think that this is the build. I think this is the build. I think everybody needs to do the net list, net deck list thing here and just do this, if I'm being honest. Like, I just think that this is the one, especially when your ability, your detachment prides you on being outside of 6 inches from your own stuff. So if you can just advance and charge across the fucking yard, you'll probably be 6 inches away from 6.1 inches away, whatever, from your allied units to turn them on while you're in combat, and then you get to do it again. Just I think that the case has been cracked. So there we go. And now we move on to one just labeled Chaos. Coterie of the Conceited, Emperor's Children. So Emperor's Children did end up with an X and 1 top 16. Oh boy. So, Demon Prince with Wings, I hear from them is pretty good. 3 Lord Exultants. Tormentors, Infractors, Chaos Rhinos, Noise Marines, 2 War Dog Carnivores. So, Coterie is the one where you pledge to kill a certain number of units, and if you do it, you get pledge points, and then you start getting things like reroll hit rolls of 1, reroll wound rolls of 1, sustain and lethal, and I forget the last one right now. Your army has advance and charge, fallback, shoot, charge, do whatever you really want, to be honest. And if Coterie does end up being the play with this build specifically too, that's another one because again, going to looking at other people's builds for things so far, I just wasn't convinced on some of the things I was seeing for Coterie. Maybe that's why I wasn't convinced, like the ratios were what they were. But if you're telling me just slam triple Lord Exultant, triple Demon Prince with Wings, and call it a day, shit, fuck it, I guess, right? I guess there's no argument there to be had. Um, Interesting that it's 2 Tormentors, 2 Infractors, so I guess depending on what you need, Lord Exultant goes with either 2-1, well, 2-1 of either way, I'm assuming. Honestly, I just read Lord Exultant with Infractors and figured that's the only one. But hey, if there's better versatility on this and depend on what the situation where you want to attach things, you call it a day there. So we have seen Emperor's Children make an appearance. Going on, Imperial Knights, something that people were still worried about a little bit. Turns out you should be, especially when a Cerastus Knight Atropos is in conversation. Now, I'm going to talk about it here in this video. We're seeing one of Titanic units make list. There's a Cerastus Knight Atropos. There was a Despoiler and a was it Chaos? It was some Chaos list I could ally in. And I've seen a few more splatterings of one Titanic unit. I'm thinking that they're back. I'm thinking that Titanic is playable right now. I'm just waiting for going back to Eldari for a second. You know, sorry, I guess I said let's clean this up first. Immolator, Sister of Battle, its Imperial Knights list outside of the Atropos. Not saying that I think that Spirit Conclave is busted, but I wonder when even Eldari jump in with Wraith Knights now that they have 2 of those data sheets, and we find out that Titanic actually is pretty playable right now. I'm wondering if that's where this goes, but who knows? I knows. I don't want to see an Atropos. Going on further, we have Admech. This was Halo's Creed Battle Clade. Call, Manipulus, Techno-Archaeologist, Rangers, Vanguard, Electro-Priest, 1 unit of Breachers, Tyraxi Skystalkers, Sterilizers, Infiltrators, 2 Ballistari, Disintegrators, Dune Riders. Lot of shit. Lot of shit. And it is interesting that we aren't doing a lot of hitting shit bricks. Now, I recently ruffled some feathers over in AdMech. I promise I'm coming back to you all. But some of you all were telling me about how that might have been what the issue was with some people's list, and that they were focusing too much on the output. You don't do the output. So if you're telling me that you're once again playing Skitarii Hunter Cohort with some flavor, fuck it. There we go. Halo's Creed. Copy it down, jot it down. Tell me if this is the way for Halo's Creed to go moving further. I also love to see Call. He's cheap enough at the point that you're like, fuck it, I might as well take him. I like to see it. Going on, Chaos Knights, Chaos Knights. War Dark Stalker, Chaos Knights list is going to Chaos Knights list. 15, Grey Knights, back at it, Warpbane Task Force. Again, now, here we go. Brotherhood Champ, Castlin Crow, Strike, Rhinos. We're not seeing a bunch of Dread Knights. So, it looks like both builds of Warpbane Task Force is viable, both of them going X and 1. 20, perfect 20s on the first 2. I'm just saying, maybe Grey Knights, you gotta work on the ratios. And finally, Chaos Knights, Praetor's Lance, Stalkers. I am liking to see the build that has, if you're going to do just a bunch of War Dog Stalkers, at least make, sorry, a bunch of War Dogs, at least make one more a Stalker and use the two enhancements that are good. So, again, doing the thing, and allied units are the allied unit loadout, Rodigus, Plague Bears, Nurglings, Beast of Nurgle. So, if you're going to do the War Dog spam, I do like that we've at least realized maybe take at least one War Dog and make it a Stalker just so you can get the good enhancements. Beyond that, run your War Dog shit. So, Alpine Cup. What are the takeaways here for us? To be honest, I don't know. I think more people need to get their hands on Emperor's Children. Um, I think that Eldari takes more skill than some of us would like to admit, but I still think it needs a bit of a touch. Chaos Demons are looking scary in more ways than one. Hmm. Oh, and I think some of the builds have been discovered, if I'm being honest. I think you do Custodes, that Custodes build, that AdMech build, and apparently the Grey Knights build is one or the other. I think there's just ratio movement there. Maybe you all meet in the middle. Maybe it's one Grandmaster, two regular Dread Knights, the rest with the other list, right? Get some Purgation squads or which the Purifier squads, whichever one gives the aura of rerolls. So to make it better. So yeah, Alpine Cup, interesting things here. Like to see it, love to see it, and I love to see what will be happening coming down the pipeline. So, thank you, Europe, for giving us a look into things to come now that Emperor's Children was allowed at this tournament. So, yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.